Today on the newscast, find out why Israel's leaders are urgently preparing for a great northern war. That's next. Hey folks, Erick Stakelbeck here. Welcome to the Watchman Newscast. As you can see, I am still on the road. I'm coming to you today from a hotel lobby in the great state of Texas. I will be back in the Watchman studio tomorrow. Yes, we don't have the usual studio lighting and bells and whistles that we have on the newscast when we are in studio, but hey, you're here for the content at the end of the day, and we've got plenty to share with you. That's why I still wanted to bring you an update, even though I am traveling today. Things are heating up to Israel's north. You might say, we know, you've been telling us that for months now, but folks, we are approaching a very dangerous point right now. Israel's defense establishment and Prime Minister Netanyahu met yesterday, an urgent meeting about the Hezbollah threat to the north as Hezbollah's leader, Sheikh Hassan Nasrallah, continues to breathe new threats against the world's one and only Jewish state. We're going to break it down in a minute, the latest developments there on what I've been calling a coming great northern war. Before we do, hey, a quick reminder to subscribe to the Watchman News channel right here on YouTube and click the notification bell so you get alerts every time a new video is posted. So much is happening in the world's most volatile and chaotic region that you do not want to miss a single upload. And here's something crazy. Some 73% of our regular viewers here on the newscast have not subscribed. That's crazy. We want to rectify that. So hey, click the subscribe button. It's absolutely free, and you will be with us every single day. And not only that, you help us to reach a broader audience with the message for such a time as this. We've got a goal of hitting 700,000 subscribers by the end of the summer, and we would love if you could help us to get there. And it's not for our own edification. This channel is by God and for God, and we want to take the message far and wide in these prophetic Bible times that we are living in right now. So we would love if you could help us out. Okay, let's get into this great northern war and the latest developments there. As I mentioned, yesterday, Sunday, July 30th, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu met with his top defense officials across the board in Israel, and they're they're discussing ways to counter the growing Hezbollah threat to the north. Now, Israel's northern border with Lebanon has been mostly quiet since that 2006 Israel-Lebanon war 17 years ago, folks. Hard to believe. At this time, 17 years ago, war was raging to Israel's north in July 2006. That was the last time that Israel and Hezbollah had a major blow-up. Now, of course, Israel has gone toe-to-toe with Iran's other proxies in the ring of fire that surrounds Israel, in particular in Gaza, of course in Syria as well. But Lebanon, southern Lebanon, mostly quiet. Israel was able to establish deterrence during that 2006 war, although when you talk to Israelis, and I'm on the ground in Israel frequently, obviously, a lot of Israelis are split about that 2006 war, and they think that Israel should have had an even stronger performance in that war. I'll leave that to them to discuss. At the end of the day, what we do know is this: the northern border has been mostly overwhelmingly quiet since that war, and Sheikh Hassan Nasrallah, the leader of Hezbollah, has been basically hiding underground for almost 2 decades now. He did rear his head over the weekend and last week as well to make new threats against Israel. More on that in a minute. But Israel's defense establishment meeting, the main reason, of course, is the Hezbollah threat to the north. And you might say, how is it growing? You said it's been quiet for 17 years for the most part. Why all of a sudden is it growing? Well, we've documented here in the newscast, folks, over the past few months, provocations repeated now by Hezbollah on that northern border, where we have Hezbollah operatives along that Lebanon-Israel border, basically menacing Israel and patrolling the border and taunting Israelis and stirring things up on the Lebanon side of the border, being much more of a show of aggression by Hezbollah and Hezbollah operatives over these past few months. Not only that, we had a Hezbollah operative cross the border into northern Israel and plant a bomb in Megiddo back in March. Thankfully, no one was killed, but that was a planned mass casualty event by Hezbollah. And also, of course, and this could be the big one, and this I think was the main topic of this meeting between Bibi and Israel's defense establishment yesterday, these Hezbollah tents that have been set up on Israeli territory, on the Israeli side of the border in the Mount Dov area. Now, there were 2 tents set up originally back in June. Hezbollah did remove one tent reportedly, but the other one still stands, and Nasrallah, the Hezbollah leader, is saying, we aren't removing that tent. Now, some 10 Hezbollah operatives have been manning this tent. I assume that they are armed, and again, this is on Israeli territory, folks. Israel can't accept this much longer. Apparently, at this meeting yesterday between Bibi and the defense chiefs, they decided to continue to pursue a diplomatic solution with this. It could even become a crisis with the Hezbollah tent on Israeli soil. Israel is trying to go through the UN to solve this, trying to go through the U.S. ambassador to Lebanon to solve it. At the end of the day, though, Nasrallah is saying, no, we are going to keep the tent here. So Zaki Hanegbi, who's a close advisor to Netanyahu, said this is a child's game being played by Hezbollah. That may be so, but if Israel does not act eventually against this Hezbollah tent on Israeli territory, Hezbollah will gloat and use it as a propaganda victory and proof, in their view, of Israel's weakness. So we've got all these provocations, not to mention rockets that have been launched from southern Lebanon under Hezbollah's watchful eye over the past few months as well. Hamas and other Palestinian terror groups operating in southern Lebanon, where Hezbollah rules with an iron fist, but being permitted by Hezbollah to fire rockets into Israel. A lot going on, and it seems, and the reports are valid here out of the region, that Iran has given Hezbollah the green light to up its aggression against Israel. Not saying that Hezbollah is going to attack Israel. That's not what I'm saying. But this kind of a death by a thousand cuts strategy where Hezbollah is probing and basically being a nuisance to Israel to the north on that border on a daily basis. And a seemingly small incident, folks, could spiral out of control into a major war. I do not exaggerate. That's exactly what happened in 2006. It was not a small incident. 2 Israeli soldiers were kidnapped along the border. But what I'm saying is Nasrallah, and he admitted this after that 2006 war, he did not expect Israel to respond with such overwhelming force. He didn't think it was going to lead to a war, but it did. And some of these Hezbollah provocations right now along the border could spiral out of control in a way that Hezbollah doesn't foresee. Why now? Why is Iran giving Hezbollah the green light? And why is Nasrallah suddenly feeling so confident? Over the weekend, I mentioned he gave a speech saying that Israel is a cancer that needs to be removed, and Israel, if it makes one false move, will attack. Really up in the ante with his threats and pronouncements against Israel. Why? It's real simple. And Nasrallah, and we documented this on the newscast last week. If you missed any, by the way, just check it out in our archives under newscasts right on the homepage of the channel. But Nasrallah is really confident about these internal debates going on in Israel right now, these massive protests about judicial reform. And he is saying that Israel is at its weakest point, and his Iranian masters are saying the same thing, that Israel is at its weakest point since 1948. That is their view. And they are also saying, look, we're not going to do something that will unite Israelis. And last week, about 2 weeks ago, Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, Quds Force, and Hamas leaders met, and they decided, let's kind of stand back and watch how this plays out. Because if we attack Israel right now, Israelis might unite around the flag and fight back, and there goes the internal divisions. So they're loving this. Nasrallah said that this is the darkest time in Israel's history. He's gloating. He's going on and on. At the same time, Israel's leaders are preparing. They know what's coming, folks. It's a question not of if, but when. I've talked to Israeli military officials over the years. They know that northern war is coming. And this tent situation, I know it sounds crazy. You might say, well, it's just a tent, but it could lead to something major. There has to be a resolution there at the end of the day. Who is going to blink? Either Hezbollah is going to remove that tent, or Israel is going to be forced to remove that tent by force. So we're at a very precarious point right now. Israeli defense leaders know it. They see that Hezbollah is growing bolder and poking and probing. The Great Northern War is the outcome here, folks. We've called it here in the newscast. where Israel will be forced to face off with Hezbollah, the Iranian regime. In southern Lebanon and Syria, the bulk of the action will be in the north. That's where it will be triggered. But you will have Hamas and Islamic Jihad in Gaza, perhaps even the Houthis in Yemen. To the south, throw their hats in the ring as well as that ring of fire that surrounds Israel ignites. Here's the good news. Israel will prevail in this war, not by strictly its own strength, but the God of Israel will have something to say about this and any future war involving his people and his land. In a prophetic sense, I see this coming great northern war as a precursor to the Ezekiel war, the war of Gog and Magog, laid out in the book of Ezekiel, chapters 38 and 39. Hey, prophetic times, Bible times, no doubt. Hey, and a quick programming note, we will have a Watchman Newscast live stream. It's been a little while since we've done our live streams. That will be this Wednesday, August 2nd. It's August already. Wow, the summer's flying by. August 2nd between 4 and 5 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on the channel. You do not want to miss that. Bring your questions for our Q&A session. We will have a lot to talk about. Hey, until tomorrow, thanks so much for joining us here on the Watchman Newscast. God bless you. And remember, never hold your peace. Hey everyone, thanks for checking out the Watchman Newscast. Make sure you hit the subscribe button so you never miss an upload, and tap the bell icon so you're notified every time a new video is posted. And don't forget to share your thoughts, insights, and comments below. Thanks for watching. We'll see you back here tomorrow.